Will the House please come to order and members kindly take their seats? Good morning. The devotional today will be led by Representative Richard Nelson of Derby.
Good morning. For those of you that were with us last night, I really had to beg to be allowed to do a devotional, but I think they'll prevail. A while back, I was thinking about people don't know the story of farmers, Vermont farmers. And, we're a highly agrarian society here in Vermont. Agriculture in Vermont's over $8.4 billion all in with dairy and veggies and fiber and everything else we produce. So we are a big deal here in the state. And I was thinking we need to tell our story. And I said, well, I can start to tell that story. I've been on school board for heading towards 15 years. I was on the zoning board. I was moderator at our town. And now I have the pleasure to serve with all of you in this grand hall. One of my biggest claims to fame is I believe I did get the last billboard removed in the state of Vermont, and that's a story I'll tell you all about someday. But anyways, I'm now on with the rest of the story. This is a Paul Harvey speech that he gave the first time in 1978 at the FFA National Convention in Kansas City. I was there as a sophomore. Didn't quite fully appreciate what I was hearing, but I have since. So it goes something like this here. And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, and then go to town and stay past midnight at a meeting of the school board. So God made a farmer. I need somebody with arms strong enough to rustle a calf, yet gentle enough to deliver his own grandchild. Somebody to call hogs, tame cantankerous machinery, come home hungry, have to wait lunch until his wife's done feeding the visiting ladies, and then tell the ladies to be sure and come back real soon and mean it. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to sit up all night with a newborn colt and watch it die and then dry his eyes and say, maybe next year. I need somebody willing to shape an axe handle from a persimmon sprout, shoe a horse with a hunk of car tire, who can make harness out of haywire, feed sacks, shoe scraps, who plant in time and harvest season, will finish his 40-hour week by Tuesday noon, and then paint him from tractor back, put in another 72 hours. So God made a farmer. God had to have somebody willing to ride the ruts at double speed to get the hay in ahead of the rain clouds, and yet stop in midfield to race to help when he sees the first smoke from a neighbor's place. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody strong enough to clear the trees and heave the bales, yet gentle enough to tame lambs and wean pigs, tend the pink comb pullets, and will stop his mower for an hour to sprint the broken leg of a meadowlark. It had to be somebody who would plow deep and straight and not cut corners. Somebody to seed, weed, feed, breed, and rake and disc and plow and plant and tie the fleece and strain the milk and replenish the cell feeder and finish a hard week's work with a 5-mile drive to church. Somebody who would bail a family together with the soft, strong bonds of sharing. Who would laugh and then sigh and then reply with smiling eyes when his child says that they want to spend their life doing what Dad does. So God made a farmer. Thank you.
Will the House stand at ease for a moment? All right, members, we have one bill on the notice calendar requiring referral to a money committee pursuant to House Rule 35A. Senate Bill 53 is an act relating to certification of community-based perinatal doulas and Medicaid coverage for doula services, is referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. Members, we received a request to read a House concurrent resolution that the House and Senate adopted pursuant to the consent calendar, HCR 93. Is a House concurrent resolution congratulating Kathleen Lynch of Burlington on being named as the 2025 Vermont Mother of the Year. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Whereas Kathleen Lynch was born to Fred and Kathleen Connor in Worcester, Massachusetts, and faith and family were central in the Connor family. And whereas after graduating from the St. Vincent Hospital School of Nursing, she devoted an astounding 47 years to surgical nursing, primarily at the hospital now known as the University of Vermont Medical Center, UVMC. And whereas she married now retired UVMC anesthesiologist Dr. Terrence Lynch, and they are the proud parents of 7 children and have 2 grandchildren. And whereas in 2010, her family assisted in the early Champlain Valley Down syndrome group's activities, and the Lynch family continues to support the Buddy Walk in Burlington. And whereas since 1935, American Mothers, Inc. has annually, with the participation of local members, designated a Mother of the Year for every state, the District of Columbia, and Puerto Rico. And from the 2025 selections, a National Mother of the Year will be chosen at a convention to be held this year in Puerto Rico. And whereas the Mother of the Year has demonstrated a strong commitment to the role of motherhood and serving her community, and whereas Kathleen Lynch has been deservedly honored as the 2025 Vermont Mother of the Year, now therefore be it resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that the General Assembly congratulates Kathleen Lynch of Burlington on being named as the 2025 Vermont Mother of the Year, and be it further resolved that the Secretary of State be directed to send a copy of this resolution to Kathleen Lynch.
Are there any announcements, member from Georgia?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is my pleasure this morning to introduce to you Vermont's 2005 State Mother and an award-winning member of American Mothers Incorporated. Kathleen Lynch lives in Burlington with her husband and children. I think there are 6, either 6 or 7. Thank you. Like many American mothers, Kathleen has a professional career. A registered nurse, she has served nearly 50 years as an operating room nurse in what we know as the UVM Medical Center in Burlington. Kathleen attended the American Mothers National Convention in Puerto Rico a couple of weeks ago, and along with many other awards, the American Mothers hand out a Golden Rule Award each year. It provides an avenue for American mothers to share their values with other 501c3 organizations that are nonprofits and organizations that help share the common good for mothers and children in our country. Kathleen won the Public Health Category Award. She's done a lot of work with the Ronald McDonald House of Vermont. It's a home away from home for families with seriously ill children when they seek treatment at the UVM Medical Center. She donated her cash prize to the Ronald McDonald House. So please, Madam Speaker, help me welcome Kathleen Lynch, Vermont's 2025 Vermont Mother of the Year.
Will the guest of the member from Georgia please rise and be recognized? Member from Calais.
Madam Speaker, it's always a wonder to have young people in the House, constituents who can't vote yet, but still have taken the time to come and visit. So I'm really delighted that the 3rd and 4th grade class from Callis Elementary School and their teacher, Mrs. Jackson, have joined us this morning. Each year, these students dive into Vermont and Callis history, learn to conduct research, take a local history tour, and then they finish the year with a visit to the State House and the History Museum. Madam Speaker, I ask that you welcome them to the People's House.
Will the guest of the member from Callis please rise and be recognized? Member from Shaftesbury.
Madam Speaker, I move to suspend rules to take up off the notice calendar Senate Bill 124, an act relating to miscellaneous agricultural subjects, and commit the bill to the Committee on Environment.
The member from Shaftesbury moves that we suspend our rules to take up off the notice calendar Senate Bill 124, which is an act relating to miscellaneous agricultural subjects, and commit the bill to the Committee on Environment. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have suspended our rules to take Senate Bill 124 off the notice calendar and commit it to the Committee on Environment. Are there any further announcements? Member from Cabot.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm excited to welcome state champions to the House. The Danville boys basketball team is seated in the balcony. After a season record of 20-4, the team won their school's first championship as the Bears. These young men are fine examples of exemplary character and sportsmen. Their dedication to team and commitment, in the words of Coach Brigham, was exceptional, and ended in reward. Would you please join me in welcoming them?
Will the guest of the member from Cabot please rise and be recognized? Member from Brandon.
Madam Speaker, there are two very important people sitting in the gallery right now. My dad and my oldest son. Can we please welcome them to the People's House?
No.
Better the second time. Madam Speaker, there are two very important people sitting in the gallery right now. My dad and my oldest son. Can we please welcome them to the People's House?
Will the family of the member from Brandon please rise and be recognized? Member from Milton.
Madam Speaker, the other member from the Grand Isle Chittenden District and I have a constituent with us today. Her name is Josie Henry, and she resides in the town of Alberg. She has a very storied history. She is a retired Navy officer, former select board chair in the town of Alberg, has been appointed a Grand Isle County side judge by Governor Scott, and she is also currently the acting town administrator for the town of Alberg. Madam Speaker, we're pleased to have retired Navy Commander Josie Henry with us, and I ask that we extend a warm welcome to her, and she is seated behind me in the gallery.
Will the guest of the member from Milton please rise and be recognized? Member from Stowe.
Madam Speaker, is it proper decorum to welcome someone who delivered a devotional but is sit in the body?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So it really, I'm standing to acknowledge what Representative Nelson has added to this body generally, but to the Ag, Food Resiliency, and Forestry Committee specifically. He brings such a depth knowledge, passion, experience, and commitment to the working lands, particularly to the farming and food producing community. And as former member from Williamstown, who delivered the shortest floor speech in history, 4 words, no farms, no food. Would you all join me in welcoming the dynamic member from Derby? Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Oh, we thank the members. Member from Berkshire.
Thank you. The Vermont National Guard and Veterans Affairs Caucus will meet on Tuesday morning, May 13th at 8 a.m. in room 10.
Are there any further announcements? Member from Westminster.
Madam Speaker, I would like to move that the member from Stowe's remarks be journalized.
The member.
The
The member from Westminster requests that we journalize the remarks of the member from Stowe. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have journalized the remarks of the member from Stowe. Member from Coventry.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is just a reminder. The member from Westminster had announced a week or two ago about Boy State, Girl State. And so again, we're asking for any members that could assist us in providing a great experience for these young men and women when they come to the State House on June 26th. So a little bit about the program that we do on the day that they're here. They come in, they open a session, they have members that are in the Senate and the House, they have a speaker, they have a pro tem. They all have committee assignments. They will then go to committee rooms, have bills and debate in the committees, bring the bills back to the floor and have floor debate. So we try to make this as close to the way we operate. We talk about decorum with them as well. But in order for us to provide a good experience, we need your help. So anyone that is willing and able to help us on June 26th, especially when they're here, please let myself or the member from Westminster know. Thank you.
Are there any further announcements? Member from Poultney.
Madam Speaker, all 56 Republicans drew straws, and I drew the shortest. I wish I had the magician skills of the member of Cavendish. Having said that, may I make an announcement on behalf of the member of Newport for the member from Chittenden, not the county, but the town.
You may.
The adjournment poll deadline is today at 4 p.m. Please see Chris in the clerk's office. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, orders of the day. Members, we will begin with House Bill 41, which is an act relating to abuse of the dead body of a person. Member from West Rutland.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to postpone H41 until Tuesday, May 13th.
The member from West Rutland requests that we moves that we postpone action on House Bill 41 for one legislative day. Are you ready for the question? Until Tuesday. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have postponed action on House Bill 41 until Tuesday. Next is House Bill 230, which is an act relating to the management of fish and wildlife. Please listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 230, an act relating to the management of fish and wildlife.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Member from Randolph.
Madam Speaker, after a fruitful discussion, the Environment Committee declined to amend Section 8 of the bill, noting that we are unable to hear new testimony on this topic, which has some considerable nuance, and given the date, it would be best to pass the bill and let the Senate do its work. So an overview of Section 8. Section 8 concerns the transport and import of wild animals. Under current law, a person must obtain a permit from the Commissioner of Fish and Wildlife to import, transport, or possess wild animals in the state. Section 8 clarifies that this authority applies to reptiles and amphibians. It also prohibits a person from taking, collecting, possessing, selling, importing, or exporting any wild bird or animal for commercial purposes unless otherwise permitted. Section 8 further provides that any person who violates this section may be subject to the penalties in 10 VSA 4518, and the Commissioner may bring an action in the Criminal or Environmental Division of the Superior Court.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Member from Franklin.
Madam Speaker, as you are aware, yesterday we had a discussion on this, and I want to thank your chair of the Environment Committee for inviting me in for the discussion that followed. I'm happy with the way this is turning out so far, and I will be supporting the bill. So thank you.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have passed the bill. Up next is House Bill 248, which is an act relating to supplemental child care grants and the Child Care Financial Assistance Program. Please listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 248, an act relating to supplemental child care grants and the Child Care Financial Assistance Program.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Are you ready for the question? Member from Waterbury.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to clarify an error that I made yesterday and to be accurate in the vote on this amendment out of committee. It was 0-10-1 unfavorable, not 0-11-0, as I said. Thank you.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have passed the bill. Up next is Senate Bill 117, which is an act relating to rulemaking on safety and health standards and technical corrections on employment practices and unemployment compensation. The bill was referred to the Committee on Commerce and Economic Development, which recommends that the House propose to the Senate to amend the bill as printed in today's calendar. The member from Clarendon, Representative Bosch, will speak for the committee. And affecting the revenue of the state, the bill was then referred to the Committee on Ways and Means, which recommends that the bill ought to pass in concurrence with the further proposal of amendment recommended by the Committee on Commerce and Economic Development. The member from South Burlington, Representative Burkhart, will speak for that committee. And then carrying an appropriation, the bill was then referred to the Committee on Appropriations, which also recommends that the bill ought to pass in concurrence with the proposal of amendment recommended by the Committee on Commerce and Economic Development. The member from Bennington, Representative Nigro, will speak for that committee. Please listen to the second reading of the bill.
S 117, an act relating to rulemaking on safety and health standards and technical corrections on employment practices and unemployment compensation.
Member from Clarendon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. S 117 comes to us as an act relating to rulemaking on safety and health standards and technical corrections on employment practices and unemployment compensation. You can find the bill on page 2264 of today's House calendar. The first part of the bill, as it passed the House, dealt with occupational safety and health rulemaking. States have two choices regarding occupational safety. They can follow the Federal Occupational Safety and Health Administration and allow them to have jurisdiction, meaning their rules govern and Fed OSHA is responsible for enforcement. Or they can be a state plan state, meaning they can set their own rules and then be responsible for enforcement as long as they do not diminish the federal rules. This gives states more flexibility in their enforcement. They can frequently work more towards compliance than more heavy hand. Vermont has chosen the second choice, and we have VOSHA, Vermont Occupational Safety and Health Administration. The first four sections of this bill were intended to create an expedited rulemaking process whereby Vermont could more easily adapt the federal OSHA rules for this state. Concerns were raised about the expedited rulemaking process, so the first four sections of the bill that address that have been pulled so the Secretary of State's office and the Department of Labor can work on them through the summer. Section 5 addresses a wage and hour concern dealing with investigations of complaints of unpaid wages. This is to codify some things that are already in practice. If the Commissioner of Labor determines that an employer has willfully withheld wages from an employee, the Commissioner shall, rather than may, require the employer to pay an additional amount not to exceed twice the amount of the unpaid wages. The remaining technical correction clarifies the existing policy that 1/2 of the additional amount above the unpaid wages goes to the employee, and the other half shall be retained by the Commissioner to offset administrative costs. Section 6 is a technical correction to employment. Under 21 VSA 384, it provides that in calculating the yearly minimum wage, the percentage increase of the Consumer Price Index U.S. city average shall be rounded to 1 decimal point. Section 7 deals with the Commissioner of Labor's authority under 21 VSA 385. Has long had the authority to create a sub-minimum wage for persons with disabilities. That power has not been used, nor has it been used for learners and apprentices, which were also included in the same citation. This bill removes that authority. Section 8 dealt with notice of potential layoffs. This deletes a proposed change to the number of employees affected by a layoff or shutdown, triggering the requirement to notify the Department of Labor. This warn notice policy currently requires an employer of 50 or more total employees that plans to close or lay off 50 or more employees over a 90-day period is required to give notice to DOL 45 days prior to the closure and layoffs. Again, there were proposals to change that, and that has been stricken from this act. The remaining two large sections of the bill deal with unemployment compensation and workers' compensation. Both are affected by the Department of Labor's ongoing efforts to upgrade their IT systems and their ability to handle claims of all sorts electronically. Sections 9 through 16 of the bill make changes to various sections of the law that require the Commissioner of Labor to make notifications in various circumstances. They amend 8 statutory sections to give employers and claimants the option to receive notices and determinations issued by the Department of Labor electronically instead of by mail. So that takes care of sections 9 through 16. Section 17, employers' experience rating records. Disclosure to successor entity. If a business changes ownership and the successor employer divides the operation of the existing business in between two or more entities, the successor employee shall designate one of the corporate entities as the successor for unemployment insurance purposes, and all employees shall be reported under that entity. That means there's no change in the unemployment calculations for those employees. Section 18, rate based on benefit experience. This technical correction revises the statutory definition of the highest benefit cost rate to align with the federal definition. A technical correction in Section 19, disregarded earnings, provides that wages earned while a claimant is partially employed shall be rounded down to the nearest dollar when calculating the amount of disregarded earnings. The short-term compensation program has been created as an effective way to assist employers in avoiding layoffs. It was suspended or made dormant in 2020 because it required considerable manual effort, and that was rendered problematic by the pandemic. Section 20 of this bill ends the current dormancy of the short-term compensation program, effective upon completion of the project to implement a modernized information technology system for the unemployment insurance program in 2026. So sections 21 and 21A move the deadlines for implementing a modernized information technology system for unemployment insurance as established by the Information Technology Modernization 2022 Acts from July 1st, 2025 to July 1st, 2026. It's change in deadlines for completing the new IT system. Then workers' compensation is the remainder of the bill. Section 22 adds the definition of medical case management as used in workers' compensation and occupational disease rules to the statutory workers' compensation definitions at subsection 13. Medical case management means the planning and coordination of healthcare services with the injured employee claimant and the claimant's family, with the goal of providing a claimant with reasonable treatment options to ensure that the claimant can make an informed choice. Medical case managers do not provide medical care and do not adjust workers' compensation claims. Section 23, translation services. This provides that the employer shall pay for translation services if the injured employee does not speak English fluently, to ensure that the employee fully understands their rights and can effectively participate in their medical recovery and the workers' compensation process. Section 24 deals with the request for pre-authorization to determine if proposed benefits or services are necessary. It adds medical case management as an available service to injured employees and one that a claimant can request. Currently, medical case management may be provided at the insurance carrier's choice. Section 24 sets forth the process for handling a request for medical case management from the claimant and the process to be followed if the carrier denies the service, as well as the appeal process at the Department of Labor if the denial of service is contested. And this is the same process that is currently in place for claimant requests for medical benefits. Section 25 addresses penalties for late payments. Workers' compensation wage replacement benefits are to be paid on a regular schedule, on a set day. If they are not, penalty for late payment is due the injured employee. This section provides a sliding scale of penalties. It expands the current penalty of $10 or 5% of the full benefit, whichever is greater, and adds a penalty of 10% to the benefit amount for the second late payment and 15% of the benefit amount for the third and any subsequent late payments. Section 26, late payment of average weekly wages. There's the penalty and report. We had conflicting testimony on the scope and frequency of this problem. This section requires employers to report the repayment of any late fees to the Commissioner of Labor quarterly, with the reason for the late payment of an employee's average weekly wage and the steps being taken to avoid future late payments. An administrative penalty of up to $500 may be assessed for failure to submit the required report. The Department of Labor is required to track the frequency of late payments for 1 year and to submit a written report to the General Assembly on or before January 15, 2027, with the Commissioner's findings on the frequency of late payments, the reasons for the late payments, the effectiveness of the current penalty scheme. The report shall also include the Commissioner's recommendation on whether to continue the reporting requirement and whether to adjust the penalties. Section 27 sets the effective date of the bill as July 1st, 2025, and proposes a new title for the bill given the elimination of the rulemaking provisions related to safety and the addition of the workers' compensation provisions. It is proposed that after passage, the bill title be amended to read an act relating to wage and hour, unemployment compensation, and workers' compensation. The Committee on Commerce and Economic Development took testimony from the Director of Workers' Compensation and Safety at the Department of Labor, the Commissioner of the Department of Labor, the Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Labor, Senior Planner and Policy Analyst for the Vermont Developmental Disabilities Council, the bill reporter from the Senate, the Vice President of Associated Industries of Vermont, a lobbyist on behalf of workers' compensation insurance carriers, a General Counsel for the Vermont Association of Justice, a lobbyist for the Vermont Association of Justice, and of course, Legislative Counsel from our Office of Legislative Counsel. The bill was voted, as amended, was voted favorably by the committee, 11-0-0, and I ask for your favorable vote.
And now speaking for the Committee on Ways and Means, member from South Burlington.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. S-117 was referred to Ways and Means because it could affect the revenues of the state. However, as you heard in the report from the Committee on Commerce and Economic Development, the changes proposed to current law are primarily technical in nature. In the interest of being thorough, though, as described by the reporter of the bill, Section 25 does include a slight increase in fees paid by employers who make late payments of workers' compensation benefits. And Section 26 establishes a new potential administrative penalty if employers fail to report correctly on their late payments of workers' compensation benefits. The expected impact on the revenue of the state is so small that the Joint Fiscal Office was not asked to provide a fiscal note. We heard from the Legislative Council, from the Office of Legislative Counsel, and the reporter of the bill from your Committee on Commerce and Economic Development. Your Committee on Ways and Means voted the bill favorable as proposed with the proposed amendment by the Committee on Commerce and Economic Development, 10-0-1, and we recommend that it should pass.
Now speaking for the Committee on Appropriations, member from Bennington.
Madam Speaker, after reviewing S-117, your House Appropriations did not find any direct or significant impact on the appropriations of the state. The committee voted favorably on this amendment with a vote of 9-0-2, and we ask for your support.
The question is, shall the House propose to the Senate to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Commerce and Economic Development? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have proposed to the Senate to amend the bill. Now the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Are you ready for that question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and third reading is ordered. Next is Senate Bill 125, which is an act relating to workers' compensation and collective bargaining rights. Member from Calais.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to move that we delay action on S-125 until next Tuesday.
The member from Calais moves that we postpone action on Senate Bill 125 until Tuesday. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have postponed action on Senate Bill 125 until Tuesday. Next is House Bill 98, which is an act relating to confirmatory adoptions. Member from South Burlington.
Madam Speaker, I move that we postpone action on H98 confirmatory adoptions to Tuesday, May 13th.
The member from South Burlington moves that we postpone action on House Bill 98 until Tuesday, May 13th. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have postponed action on House Bill 98 until next Tuesday. The final bill on our action calendar today is House Bill 398, which is an act relating to the Vermont Economic Development Authority. The Senate concurred in the House proposal of amendment to the Senate proposal of amendment with a further proposal of amendment thereto that is printed in today's calendar. Member from Whitingham.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. House 398, an act relating to the Vermont Economic Development Authority, which passed out of this body on April 29th, makes a variety of technical corrections to the VEDA Statute 10 VSA Chapter 12. It also establishes the Vermont Disaster Recovery Loan Fund. Upon the bill's return from the Senate on April 23rd, your House Commerce Committee learned of another bill, S60, an act relating to establishing Farm Security Special Fund to provide grants for farm losses due to weather conditions. Like the Disaster Recovery Loan Fund, this bill provides grants to farmers following a disaster. Since VEDA has the authority to lend to the agricultural sector as well, Chair Marcotte and Vice, oh wait, am I not supposed to say names? Sorry.
Pardon? Can you please repeat? No.
Pardon me, the chair and vice chair of the committee offered an amendment to 398 stating that a business shall not be eligible for financial assistance from the Vermont Disaster Recovery Loan Fund if that business had received assistance from the state for the same disaster event. This is to ensure that the limited funds are as widely distributed as possible. This amendment passed on April 29th, and the Senate returned the bill with an amendment to this amendment, which would have VEDA consider, when VEDA is considering lending from the Vermont Disaster Recovery Loan, they shall also consider whether a business had received disaster recovery assistance from the state for the same disaster event. Your Committee on Commerce and Economic Development heard the amendment and voted to concur with the Senate 10-01. We ask for your support on this amendment.
The question is, shall the House concur in the Senate proposal of amendment to the House proposal of amendment to the Senate proposal of amendment? Are you ready for the question? That's right. All those in favor?
Madam Speaker, can I interrogate?
Oh, member from Westminster.
I have a question for the presenter of the bill.
The member from Whitingham is interrogated.
So I just wanted to clarify with the back and forth, with the current version of the amendment that came over from the Senate, it's possible for farmers and people engaged in forestry to be considered for VEDA loans, but they will also be considering if they have received other grants recently in the past. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much.
So the question is, shall the House concur in the Senate proposal of amendment to the House proposal of amendment to the Senate proposal of amendment? Are you ready for the question? Member from Coventry.
Just a clarification, it would only be for that disaster. It wouldn't be any loans that they received in the past, only if they received a grant or another loan for that same disaster.
Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have concurred in the Senate proposal of amendment to the House proposal of amendment to the Senate proposal of amendment. Members, that completes the orders of the day. The chair has two announcements. First, the deadline to approve any lingering House concurrent resolution drafts is next Wednesday, May 14th at 5 p.m. And second, we'll be holding another token session on Monday to move the calendar along. So if you are going to hear me ask for a motion to adjourn until Monday, but the House will reconvene as it normally does on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Are there any further announcements? Seeing none. Member from Poultney, can you please offer us a motion to adjourn until Monday, May 12th at 3:30 p.m.?
Madam Speaker, I make a motion this body stand in adjournment until Monday, May 13th, 2025 at 3:30 p.m.
You have heard the motion. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and this body stands in adjournment until Monday at 3:30 p.m.